Bradenton Community Redevelopment Board Meeting. Okay, let's stand for Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, citizens' comments. Citizens' comments will be accepted during this portion of the meeting on any non-agenda item, future agenda item, or topic of relevance to the CRA of the City of Bradenton. Comments will be accepted on the public hearings at the appropriate times. Do we have any public?
No, ma'am.
Anyone in the audience wishing to speak? Okay, we'll move on to the consent agenda. Do I have a motion or
Madam Chair,
any comments? Yes.
move to approve consent agenda 4A through 4F.
Oh, that's right. I've got the old one. Sorry.
You mean A through E?
Oh, well,
Okay,
Oh, that's
Oh,
right.
through
is the amended
Revised.
one?
it's amended one?
Yes.
Yes,
Okay.
you're right.
Sorry.
Okay, what is it now? Is it A through
4A.
F?
Yes.
Okay,
4A through 4F.
okay. Do I have a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Passes unanimously. Oops. Okay. Okay, downtown CRA. Is this,
Madam Chair, I'm going to turn this over to Chris now to go over the incentives.
wonderful.
His IQ just went up 10 points.
Only 10? Good afternoon, everybody. Chris Mignon, CRA Manager. So we're really excited to present this to you. It's a great opportunity for the downtown CRA. So AmRes Investments LLC submitted an application to the CRA staff for the CRA's Sustainable Redevelopment Incentives Program. CRA staff has reviewed the application and met with representatives to discuss the proposed project and details of the CRA's incentive program. This presentation will provide some information on the proposed project and how it aligns with CRA goals. The applicant is proposing a 367-unit multifamily mixed-use development to be located at 500 15th Street West. The proposed project provides substantial private investment, boosting the local economy and generating significant tax revenue for the city and the county. It aims to revitalize the downtown CRA district, acting as a catalyst for community redevelopment and economic growth. The applicant is currently under contract with Manatee County to purchase the parcel. The applicant estimates the total cost of $130 million and the stabilized value of $175 million, with construction being completed in the second quarter of 2028. The application features incentive add-ons for sustainable redevelopment, including parking, micro-mobility, and SEPTED. It also emphasizes low-impact development, workforce housing, and flood resilience. Additional elements include building to IBHS fortified standards, public art, and enhancing the urban canopy. All these are aimed at benefiting the community at large. As we all are aware, increment revenue arises from the increase in property values, boosting revenue for the CRA, city, and the county. The projected gross CRA increment revenue over the 12-year period totals about $26 million, with the developer's reimbursement at approximately $21 million. This is 12% of the improved value of the property. and the CRA's net share project is just over 5 million. After this 12-year period, the CRA will sunset. The incentive will be paid in full to the developer, and the city and the county will see a nice return or a nice increase in revenue. The proposed project offers substantial economic benefits by creating significant employment during construction and permanent jobs in retail and services after its completion. It will boost property values within the downtown district as well as the surrounding area. The economic revitalization will enhance consumer spending and business activity, contributing to a significant economic impact in the downtown area, the city, and the county. The proposed project aligns with the CRA's continuing mission of revitalizing downtown through private investment. It integrates sustainable development initiatives like low-impact development and micromobility, enhancing community enrichment with workforce housing and public art. This project strengthens the tax base and fosters economic growth, benefiting all residents. In closing, CRA staff recommends approval of the application submitted by AmRes Investments LLC for the CRA's Sustainable Redevelopment Incentives Program. The substantial private investment will generate significant revenue and perfectly aligns with the CRA's strategic vision for downtown revitalization. We invite any questions or comments. Mr. Callahan is here as a representative for the applicant if there are any questions on the project. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, does anyone have any questions?
Well, yeah, if we're going to has a traffic study been done?
That's one for Carl.
Carl Callahan, representing Alan Morris Group, Res Inc. LLC. The traffic study would obviously be forthcoming. One of the things, right now we're in the application stage. A couple of updates on the project. We as a group will be going through a charrette in 2 weeks, starting to look more detail at architectural standards for this. What you saw was, or you have seen, or we presented to the county, was a rendering of what we thought, but it's then to get in and flesh out all the details as to what that really means in a project. If you probably heard, when they originally approved the contract for sale, they had a contingency in there concerning parking, and it looked like it was going to be a long time out before this project could ever happen because of their concerns about a parking garage. Next week in Manatee County, on their agenda is an amendment number 1, which reduces that time frame to a 2-year period. There will be 2 years to close on the property. So they've taken into consideration what they thought their needs were for parking and have changed that. We had originally put in the contract that if we could find alternative parking, that we could move the time frame up. That was at our suggestion. When the new commission came in, they decided that they would just soon move this quicker if it could happen quicker. And the amendment that's on Tuesday's agenda calls for a closing within 720 days of execution of the amended contract. So that's anticipation of everybody wanting to move forward quicker and actually make it come to fruition versus some pie-in-the-sky plan that could take up to 5 or 6 years, which was a nice idea, but whether it could happen or not, who knows over that time frame.
Go ahead.
Am I looking at this correctly, that basically by the calculation, the formula, 0.86% is what they would be entitled to, but they're asking for 12 for a total of 21?
No.
Yeah, just help me break down that math, but also, I'm gonna have a follow-up question, so I'll just give it to you now, which is, if we're approving incentives now, is that gonna affect anything that we do in the future, like some future plans to do some new things?
No, it would not. What we're doing is we're locking in the estimated incentives so they can work on their financing capital stack. And the nice thing about how these incentives are structured are it's self-funded, so that the money that you are estimating does not exist at this time. It's not in our trust fund. It does not exist until the private sector creates it and we collect it. As far as anything in the future, if at any time we came back and said we're going to make some adjustments, and this property were part of those adjustments, first of all, we would talk with the person under contract and say, what would you like to do? And then let them decide, and then we would bring that back to the board. The good news is the contract that we're working on to bring back to you it's an estimate, and then we will not know the full value of this project until it's appraised after certificate of completion or occupancy. So we have a lot of flexibility here. We are applying estimated values for the future. But what it does is it allows the developer to work with their financial institutions and show them the partnership, the public-private partnership with the CRA. So I should have just said, no, it doesn't affect anything.
No, that's
Do you
good
want
to
to
hear.
clarify the money part? I
Yes,
think I
so
a little bit.
what you're seeing is that 12% is our, is what we give and over what's improved. So let's say it's $1 million. So 12% of that, that's the improvement value, right? So 12% of that be 120. So our base reimbursement is a 50-50 split, right? So out of that 120, say their property taxes were 10,000. Out of that, so 50-50 split, we reimburse 5,000, we would get the $5,000, right? We have bonus incentives for the program. If they do like micro-mobility, if they do urban canopy, if they do public art over what the city requires, and that kind of thing, they get bonus points. So they did a multitude of things that they have on there. So at the end of it, they got 0.36. So they got 36% more. So they don't get an additional amount over the 12%. They just get, the split goes higher. So they get paid back quicker. So in this case, they're at 86. So they would have an 86 split, and we'd have 14%. So they get 86, we get 14 until the 21 million is paid off. So we calculate that if they do go CO, if they complete in 28, starts to go as on tax roll is 2029, then we're at the end of, we're at 2040 to be able to pay them that full 21 million back.
And if we don't make it, then we need that.
Yeah, and if they don't, so that's another thing too. We're gonna bring the contract, it's gonna codify these things to you. So we'll bring that contract back to you. That'll have a little more detail on the terms and things. And if they don't live up to their, saying that we're gonna do workforce housing or something like that, and they end up not doing it, then that percentage is taken away. So instead of 86, if they didn't do that, that's 5 points, so they would get 81. And so it changes that value a little bit. But this is, but the 12% stays the same right now. We are gonna have to look at the future because we are running out of time as far as our CRA. So we're gonna have to look and see how we can accommodate being able to give this program and still be within where it's, feasible for us to do and feasible for the developer as well. So I hope that answers your question.
I think so. So 0.86 means that when we get that fictional $10,000 tax bill, we're reimbursing for 0.86?
They would receive the 0.86. So if it's 10,000, then they get 8,600, and then we get 1,400.
And when you say we get, as in they pay, we reimburse
Well, they're
them.
paying the $10,000
Right,
in the
and we're
property tax.
reimbursing the 86.
Well, we reimburse that, right.
I think I understand.
Yeah, it's a reimbursement. That's how we have to work it.
It's not realized until after the project is over, and they start
Right.
actually paying the bills.
Right, the project has to be, they have to get their certificate of occupancy, they have to get an appraisal. So whatever that appraisal comes back, but that's gonna be the base, right? So then based on that, so say it comes in and it is 175 million, the appraisal comes in at that, then will, solidify that as 21 million, right? And then based on that, then they get, on what they did as far as the bonus incentives, then they'll get that percentage over the 50% for that reimbursement for that year. And that will just go for the next 12 years or however long it takes to pay them off,
To the end of the CRA.
or the end of CRA, right?
So just so you know, I'm used to working with CRAs with 20 years, and those numbers actually balance out because once they're done being paid off, the CRA then receives the full amount for a longer period. As you can see in Chris's presentation, as soon as they get paid off, I think we get like a year.
Yeah, the last year, you see on there, it flips. So the last year, I mean, they're getting the bulk of it, but then that 2040 year, then the CRA is getting 1.7 million out of that. So it flips. And then after that, that's where the return on the investment for the city and the county of contributing to the CRA, that's when they see their return on their investment into the CRA is after that, because then they get that full boat. They split it, of course, to the county and the city, but then they'll get that.
Okay.
One last thing, not having to do with the incentives. This is the first market rate deal that is in downtown Bradenton.
I thought they said it was workforce.
A
Okay.
portion.
I can talk to you about
Okay.
So this is a developer who's coming in a risky time with the economy the way it is and saying we're going to go above and beyond what the current market probably will bear. I've seen the same thing happen in Fort Myers and it worked out beautifully at that time. But they are coming in and giving us something we really do need in our downtown. You have, as the city council and the CRA board, you have done your duty when it comes to affordability and for workforce housing. That being said, our incentives for downtown and Tamiami do include workforce housing, and for Central it includes affordable housing, which is a percentage of area median income. We still want them to do a number of units in an affordable manner. We believe we can work with them to make it a certain size and, so it can still be market rate, but it will actually meet the 120% area median income target. That's something that we will work out with them, but we really do want the people, because they also are putting in a coffee shop and some other things, and people will be working on site. Wouldn't it be great if they actually lived where they worked? That's what we're looking for. So this is a great opportunity. We got a great developer. They've done a lot of really good projects. When they came in, I knew who they were from the start. I've heard of them before. They have a good reputation, and it's a great site. And it's probably the best market rate deal that we've had coming in the door for us for the first one. But we really do need to focus on building our tax base in the downtown and that market, that strong market rate. The workforce will follow, it always does, but we need to, you have done, I have watched you do a lot of work with affordability and workforce housing, and it's time that you start reaping some of the rewards of your market rate.
Okay. Councilwoman Barnaby?
Thank you. And how is this going to help us in our continuing quest to get a grocery store in our downtown?
Great question, we'll talk about Randy Iaboni later, but I will tell you this, in order to, the people say what should come first, the chicken or the egg? They both come at the same time. You have to build up the market in your downtown. You need disposable incomes. You need people who need groceries. That will draw a grocery store. And when you have this project and other projects coming online, the grocery store will come because you're creating the demand for the supply. So, and in fact, at some point we can talk about putting a multiplier on the incentives for somebody to bring in a grocery store into the downtown of the caliber that you want. And whoever does it first gets the multiplier. And then after that, we turn it off because we got our grocery store.
I mean, I don't want to oversimplify the grocery store conversation because I think that there's more to getting in the grocery store than the heads in beds. But can you explain a little bit about how it was going to be affordable, but now it's going to be market?
No, it's not affordable or it has 100% always been luxury market rate apartments. You, as a group, offered incentive for workforce housing of up to 5%, 5 of those basis points. There is nowhere in there does it say it needs to be 30%, 20%, 10%, 5 units. So in order for us in our underwriting of this, we're looking to max that out, saying, yes, we would like to take advantage of that. I know Ms. Coker has said before, I'm not really interested in that. Absolutely, we understand that. You know what I mean? We do it a lot of other places, and I'm not, you're very interested in a lot of places, not necessarily on this site. So we are looking at luxury apartments, maybe a small component of that being workforce, whatever it takes to be able to get that 5 bonus points incentive. And the way you mix that in is you may have units that are not quite as desirable. There may be smaller units. When you say market rate, it's not based on per square foot. It is based on gross rents. And be able to still accommodate the 180 to 120 in your project. You know, every new project coming out you see in South Florida has a small component of workforce housing into it, because that's what they're trying to do. They're trying to integrate that small mix into their basically luxury or market rate rental projects. So that's what this is looking to do. And if you said, no, we don't want it, we go, okay. We go, okay. But we are looking to max out those incentives, because that helps when we're sitting there, as Mr. Burton said, as we're going after, which is the toughest thing. Toughest thing is not building this. Toughest thing is not designing it. The toughest thing about any of these projects in Bradenton, because of the rents right now, is to get it financed. So this is the way to help get it financed out in the market.
I worry about vacancies, not just the building
Well,
design.
you shouldn't worry about vacancies. We should really worry about vacancies.
Unless you're declaring yourself as a partner in their organization right now.
That is our risk. Our risk is that, does it work? Do you fill it up? Do you get it to the 95% occupancy, which you need? Do you get it at the rents that you need? Those are all the risks that the developer takes. And then with the financing in place, can you afford to do all that? Now, obviously, we're concerned about vacancies. You don't want to build a building that's vacant, but neither do we. You know, so that's always the risk that's out there, and that's where we have to determine: do we feel like the return that we're looking at is worthwhile to be able to make it go forward? And that's the key to it. So that workforce is no. It says workforce in there. I even changed the language. I even had Larry change the language a little bit on there, because I don't want to commit to a certain percent. We want to put what you guys want to put in there. If you guys have an interest in doing some of that, then we have an interest in trying to make it happen to get that incentive. That's really what it's all about.
So
I just would like to clarify that it was on that lot. I didn't feel like affordable housing should go. I'm not against affordable housing, just on waterfront lots.
Workforce housing are very important.
Yeah.
City of Bradenton has done a lot towards that, whether it's senior housing, true affordable workforce has done a lot towards that, and done almost nothing towards luxury.
Market rate,
Market rate
yes.
rents downtown.
Exactly.
So no, yes, to absolutely clarify that, because I heard it for a long time as well. What are we really trying to get here? What are we trying to get? And to a workforce product, like, it doesn't work there in its entirety, because you'd never get fined. Costs are no different, not much different to build a workforce versus building a luxury. They're very similar, but the rents are significantly less.
So Carl mentioned the keyword risk, and banks are risk adverse, and developers are risk takers. And what we want to do is we lower the risk with the incentives, so that the bank feels more comfortable knowing that there's a public partner involved. It helps the developer out to get that financing and hopefully get nice, healthy, and that's, a lower interest rate would be nice. And that's what we do, is we lower the risk as much as we feel we can with the public dollar, in order to, because if we didn't do it, they wouldn't build it, and the money does not exist. So it's a vicious circle of development, but it really does work, because you hear the developer saying, we'll do what you want us to do because we would like the incentive. And that's exactly what we would like him to do, is we would like him, any developer, to come in and say, we'll do a percentage affordable. We'll do the multi-mobility. We'll do all of these things. And the added art value, love that one. So, you know, and in the end, we've even told them, you know, well, you know, guess what? If we can deem that a brownfield site because of all the work that was done on Wares Creek, it will not help him with his luxury apartments. But that percentage of affordable units, he can get sales tax back on, which is a nice added little bonus. So we want to help the developer to build the best project for Bradenton. And those incentives that we have in place, you know, you can go through that policy anytime you want and say, Jeff, I'd like to see these adjusted. I would like to add this or take this out. That's fine. But we put those in place not to subsidize the developer, but to incentivize. We're not pushing them, we're pulling them. And he's coming along with us in a partnership. So excited about $120 million. And I can tell you, in the last upturn in the economy, I sat in Fort Myers and watched developers come in and watched the downtown get built up. And at the end of the day, the money that you see that Chris has calculated, 55% of it will go back to the city's coffers and 45% will go back to the counties. But that's money that goes back to the city's general fund that was created because of a developer and a CRA.
Councilwoman?
I think it's also important to remember that while we're all concerned about people having a place to live, it is very important to have that critical mix in your downtown. You can't have everything low income. You can't have everything, and there's so many people do not understand when you talk about low income workforce, you know, affordable. They don't understand that these are things that the federal government has set up, and it's a percentage of your income. They'll look at a project that comes in and goes, well, who's that affordable for, kind of thing. If you set up everything that is so that it is all affordable, low income, you're going to damage your downtown. You've got to mix in the higher rents, the luxury apartments, that sort of thing, in order to keep our downtown sustainable or create a sustainable downtown to begin with.
With that, a little bit, and it kind of ties into a little bit of talking about traffic study or whatever else. I did a little bit of analysis, which you know I would do, thinking about where we are as a city. And I've talked to Mayor Brown several times about making sure the city doesn't get penalized for the wayward expansions of other people near to us. I went back, looked at all the CAFRs, AFRs now, I guess, from 2000 to 2024, the city of Bradenton grew 7,000 people. In that same time period, Manatee County grew 175,000 people. We all know that our traffic problems are transients. People run through our city without stopping. The hope when we start building things like this is we're not adding 500 residents here that have come from someplace else. We're hoping they've decided from someplace else in the county. They now like the urban lifestyle and they want to live downtown. So it's actually not saying it's directly adding those folks. But when you do the analysis, we represent 4% of their increase over 20 years, almost nothing. So my push has always been not penalizing the city. You know, when you sit there and say, now you know why we can't have nice things. We deserve nice things downtown. We deserve things here in Bradenton, whether it's here or elsewhere, and not to be completely inhibited by the traffic studies that say we have too many people on the roads. Of course we do, because the math from North River, East County, coming through to this side and then flushing back out at night, and 2 hours later, you can go any place you want. So just keep that in mind as we talk about those things. And the goals of this city center is to bring people downtown, not necessarily all new people, just people have decided they want a different lifestyle. even people on the east side. They want a different lifestyle now. They don't want to live 20 miles out there to get a grocery store. They want to live close. They want to be in the middle of activity. So that's our vision. I think hopefully that's your vision. And for that, you know, we're asking for this today. We think it's a great plan. I thank Jeff for putting it all together. We think it works. Will it get us over the hump? We hope so. I mean, that's the $64 question. Is, you know, we've talked to people about it, but when you're dealing with our Bradenton rents are a little bit suppressed. This project happens tomorrow in St. Petersburg. This project happens tomorrow in Sarasota. It's more iffy from a lender's perspective because of our rents here in Bradenton, because our construction costs are the same. So that's where these incentives help to make it a reality. So thank you for your time. If you have any other questions.
If you have any questions, does anybody have any motion?
Oh, do we have to move? Do we have-
And the motion,
Yes,
to make
yes.
sure when you read it, I saw the motion, is a very good motion that says, we're approving this today to enter into a more detailed agreement, which lays all these things out in more detail. What happens if somebody doesn't pay? What happens if, you know, things don't happen? You know, all those kind of things need to be laid out in the agreement. How do you make the incentive for whatever it is, you know, to make sure that you're doing the things that are necessary to get that 3 or 4% bonus?
I think that the nature of my, I mean, the nature of my hesitancy is not that the project sounds bad. It is a couple of things. I'm always hesitant for us to make assumptions about, for me, the chicken and the egg is the housing or the amenity. So will people really want to live in a luxury apartment downtown if the luxury apartment is the only amenity that they have? Or do we need to really focus, like we talked about this morning, on what we want downtown to look like so that people want to move there?
I don't think there's a chicken or egg. I think there is a chicken and egg.
Okay, that's
Because,
fair.
because you need both. But, and I was talking to Mr. Burton earlier, that, a little bit about what did we do in the CRA with our jobs incentive program? Is it still alive and well? The CRA had an economic development program for jobs incentives. That's how we lured Sun's Insurance here. That's how we got Co-Advantage here. We paid them for each of those new higher paying jobs that were available. Well, that's part of the mix in downtown, is bringing new employers downtown so you can live, work here. Bringing new employers downtown also brings people who are here all day long to be able to do the things that you're looking at, whether it's restaurants, some retail, office space. Certainly in this project, and we know it's going to happen because when we toured all the projects they do, we say coffee shop, but it's not. It's an outside amenity that serves not only the residents, but it also serves the outside. And they've done that a great job. In one of their developments in Star Metals in Atlanta, they also have the bodega. The thing you want, they have. Now, that's a much bigger market down there, but it is in there. So people have thought about how do you integrate that. We went in it. It's great. It's not huge, but it's the kind of thing where, you know, you have a few thousand square feet of getting your essentials, getting the things you want. Those are the types of things that may be the baby steps before you get the full-fledged grocer that comes in and says, yes, I'm going to put a 30,000 square foot grocer in parking spaces. You see that if those things work, people start seeing what else is next. So that's kind of from this site. It is a little bit iffy from a retail perspective because it is a bit tougher, but to live there has great views, pretty easy access if you live there. But if you're coming and going all day long to it, it may be a little different issue with that.
And having been here, I mean, and sat on the DDA when downtown was not what it is now, and things were a lot iffier than I think we are now. I think that that's the purpose of the incentive, is to make sure that the project is even better than what would maybe come there without the incentives. And that the success, I mean, believe it or not, the Riverwalk project, there was a lot of dissent on that, and look how successful that was at bringing everybody down. So the more we help incentivize to bring here, I think will bring the free market to make it even better.
Yeah, I mean, you look at, that's why we brought in St. Pete's prior mayor to talk about what those apartments had done to help bring in an area that was downtrodden. Now, they have 2 Publix downtown now. You know, they didn't have any before. So, you know, a lot more people. So it's not heads and beds, it's demographics, it's full-time folks. I mean, when we did the review for the for the CCRA on the grocery stores on the east side. The problem with those was twofold. One is you didn't have the numbers of people, so you didn't have the heads, but you didn't have the demographics were horrible. Both of them were half what a grocer wants to see in order to invest monies. So what's the answer to that? The same thing, a little bit of the answer is here. Incent. How do you make them decide? Where they're spitting a bit, they don't want to be there because their norms say, no, I don't want to do it. You have to be good enough about telling them, yes, you do want to be there. We want you here, and here's what we're going to do for you. It takes all of those things.
And the Marriott was boarded up at that time. We had to really incentivize that. And now, I mean, it's like incremental, but I think we're starting to really see the benefits of that. And I think this will be another great feather to help incentivize and maybe pull a little bit down towards the Village of the Arts, which is something that we've always kind of been trying to do, is to integrate the river with the, I think, well, okay, I guess we'll wait. And I think the mayor wants to say something.
Oh, good. Happy birthday, Mayor. Thank you.
28.
There's an 8 in it, but it's not a 2. Gene Brown, mayor, downtown resident, and I think good dialogue, and I think the dialogue at this morning with some of the things that we did to better our main street and make it to be where it's more of what we want to see. And correct me if I'm wrong, Dr. Burton, is it called ITN that we talked about yesterday with the county? And I know that hopefully Ms. Barnaby can hear this, but the county is working hard on their parking garage and really an invitation to negotiate with what they're doing. And one of the first people that have come in so far, a little pre stuff, is a grocery store right there. So, it's an opportunity that it could be right in the middle of really a walkable area for a lot of residents when you look around that circle there. So, and I agree with Mr. Callahan, it's not the chicken or the egg, it's the chicken and the egg now. Because without either one of them, others are waiting to see how it drops. And I think that's important. And with the incentives and the things that we're talking about, we're there. And a lot of things are coming out that will start to flow. And I think Dr. Burton has done such a great job at starting some of these incentives that are giving people hope that it will happen to bring to you. And I don't disagree with you at all from the standpoint of, well, is there hesitance about what's next? Well, if this project was in front of any round other than Bradenton right now, they'd be begging for it and the finances would be there. But that's what we want to be. And I think we have that opportunity to get to that next step. And we're right there with this property, with the connection with what we talked about, with other market type things on different streets. And again, I know there's some Village of the Arts people in the back. The whole thing is from City Park to Old Manatee. What are we doing to connect it? And these are the things. And people said when I moved downtown into the river dance that, oh, you're going to hate it because you want like a yard and like all the stuff and all that. I wouldn't trade where I'm at right now, and my wife is in the same boat. We talk about it. We love it. And how many of more people, if there was a product there, would love it? And obviously, some of us have kids still, so it's a little different. But when you don't have kids, a lot of it changes. And I want to be able to walk to a grocery store. I want to be able to walk to other amenities that other cities around us have. We want to be Bradenton. We don't want to be any of the other cities, but we also want to have some of the amenities that they have. And these type of projects bring it and make it viable, not only for the developer to do it, but viable to give us other things. And, I don't know if any of us will be up here in 2040, but one of the things that will happen is when it does, all of it's going, the city then gets an influx of money that can help. Isn't that right, 2040 when the CRA ends? Yeah. So, yeah. But anyway, no, I thank you. I think there's a lot of great questions. I hope we're all here in 2040, just not in probably our current seats. But I think there's opportunities that will start popping up, and sometimes one pops up, then all of a sudden, and we're in a market right now that it's there. So, thank you.
Thank you.
Besides, you get all the yard work you want to do after any hurricane.
Well, and I think that's kind of the brilliance of the program, is that it's self-funding. So if it's not successful, then it's on them. It's not our risk.
and don't get me wrong, it's not that I need, it's not that I'm adverse to anything. I want to see us get to a place where we decide we want X, Y, Z in this spot, and then we say, we will incentivize X, Y, Z on this spot. I would rather not have to have people come to us and, tell us how amazing something's going to be in a spot. I want to say, hey, wouldn't it be great if this is downtown and a grocer's here and a luxury apartment's here and affordable's here? And then we tell developers, come make this for us.
I kind of like the free market better.
We're trying to get there.
Okay, any other discussion, or does anybody have a,
Two things. One,
yeah?
this is your second incentive, so we've already had one in, which was all workforce. We've got this one, which is market, which is beautiful, with a mix. This one is also on government-owned property, which I don't have to tell you, that's like a lot of whipped cream and a cherry on top, because there is no base year, it's zero. So this, when the private sector comes in and builds this, it's 100% increment revenue, 95% actually, but it's the best kind. And the second thing I'll tell you is, and Chris and Carl have heard me say this in front of the developers when they're sitting at the table, you got a great location to come to Bradenton, because we are wanting to do things like this. We've got a board that's supportive, got a mayor that's supportive, a city that's supportive. I have worked in non-supportive cities. That's why I'm here, is because I know this board wants to make a difference. And that's part of the sell. That's where the momentum starts, is with this board. Then it's one developer, then it's two developers, and then other developers watch them. Because they have these little services that'll call you and say, what are you doing? And then they say, we're building in Bradenton. And other folks see it, and then they start coming. And and when you get those developers lined up, that's when you can start adjusting.
And I know Alan Morris said this talk to Jeff, doesn't want to be one and done. You have a developer back here that didn't want to be one and done in this area. So
That's right.
I think once they see success, they can see that you have a council that you can work with, a CRA that you can work with, that incents them alone if they want to try to do more.
Thank you. I'm done.
Any more questions? Do I have a motion?
Madam Chair, move to approve the application for CRA Sustainable Redevelopment Incentives with Ameris Investments LLC, and direct CRA staff to work with legal counsel to draft an agreement codifying the terms as presented, which is to be brought back to us for final review and consideration.
Any more discussion? All those in favor, aye?
Aye.
Passes unanimously. Thank you. Okay, other discussions?
Yes, ma'am. I have just a couple of things. First of all, I just wanted to let you know that this is also the first place I've worked with a staff that owns things. Chris took the incentives. I haven't seen them since, and I'm used to doing them myself. That's why you see me jump in from time to time. But as you can see, I mean, they ran with them, and I tell them, make them better. Same thing with Todd and the grants. Grants are going in and out the door. You've got your data sheet, your little dashboard that shows you where they're at. And they're continuing to come in, and we did make the adjustments that you asked for in the policy. So that's there also. And of course, keeping the glue all together is KK right here. So she just walks in the door and says, sign these things. I'm like,
Lean
"Yes,
and
ma'am, I'll sign
mean.
them."
Lean
So,
and mean.
so it makes it a lot easier to come up with new things when they're taking everything off my back. Randy Iaboni, because I know you're going to ask, is in progress. And I'll see if I can get him here the next meeting to give an update on the market study. Sustainable Homes, we met with, and like I said, it gives me time to maneuver. Met with the Fortified program, which is the insurance industry's building code, which gets used all the discounts on the insurance, because somebody told me it's not about the mortgage, Jeff, it's about the premiums on the insurance. Jane. Solar, we met with solar. We met with the architect again, and they're moving forward. And while he's doing the incentives, Chris is working on 2 potential land contracts, larger pieces, so that when we get the other houses going, prototypes done, we can actually start doing the mortgaged homes, which is homeowner occupied, okay? We've also been working with, Chris has been working with, I'll give him credit for that one, RFQ for land trust. I know, that's all I'm gonna say on that. We're also working with CDBG, SHIP, and I had a meeting today with the city's new grant services, and they ate it up, and they're like, I think we actually have some more revenue sources, which could even lower the mortgages down even further. So we're looking at homes that withstand the highest winds, according to the insurance industry. They are built higher for flood. They are set up so that when the power goes out, as long as you're mindful of your power usage, your power does not go out, and as long as the sun shines, we want to build those houses. And if you come in the office, we'll talk about the early monthly fee. So we are really excited about that. Also, the city's grant people said, think about also making some of them for veterans, because there's some money available for that too. So I said, I follow the money. I won't speak for the board, but I can honestly tell you that if we'd set aside a percentage of them for vets, and we can get help from the federal government to do that, that we're going to be interested in talking to you about that. So that was a good one. I also want to let you know, the EPA grants came out. We didn't apply for one last year. The numbers for the grants writers that I've used in the past are just a little higher than what I can pay for, according to city policy. This year, by the way, Palmetto got a $500,000 assessment grant because their numbers are a little higher in their purchasing policy. And I talked, the guy that I usually use from, who's Miles Baylog, who has done all my brownfield grants, and he will come in under the number to write one for us for this year. So I'm going to go ahead and start that process. The good news is if we're awarded, it'll cost us less than $10,000 to get $500,000. And then I need to go talk to the city about potential brownfield sites. I know of some, but we have a year to work on it. We also own a house in Central, and I'm tired of owning that house. We need to get it back out on the market. We don't want to tear it down. It's a good house. It's not something we want to put these new houses on. It's ready to go almost. We've been talking with 3 contractors to get a number. Flooring, windows, doors, paint, inside and out, cabinets, countertops, garage door, and we think we've got one that's with the 3 bids and the city administrator signing it for us. We think we've got one underneath $75,000 to bring that house back. It's not structurally, it's in good shape, but it was a police headquarters for quite some time, and it needs new flooring and needs new water heater and needs a lot of new stuff in it.
It needs some love.
It needs some TLC. Just so you know, we also are working with Applied Sciences, who's doing our larger connectivity between all 3 CRAs project that's still a ways away, to do a project in Tamiami that shows, it's a prototype of what their streets could look like with the street parking and the sidewalks and the lights. We do have the funds to do that project. We do have the funds also to have them begin the engineering. They would talk to the folks in Tamiami, they would talk to this board, they would talk to Kim, and they put together the whole design for it, and then we would put it out to bid for construction. You asked for it to happen sooner rather than later, so this is sooner. We actually have it in the budget to be able to do this, so we can move forward with applied sciences, and then you can take a look at it and see if you like it. This will give us parking along the perimeter of the outside while protecting the green grass on the inside for whatever it is we want to do next, whether it's housing or a pavilion or whatever, whatever mixture of projects you want to do on that property. But this gives us parking spaces, beautiful sidewalks, pretty lights, and it can be done in the colors and in the themes that the folks in the neighborhood would like. And it gives them the ability to see what it could look like throughout the whole neighborhood. You tell me whether you want to do this or not. We do a lot of work, and we're beginning to do some really good work, but we're not getting the PR, the dissemination of what we do, which is we're allowed to do in the statute. And for less than $10,000 a year, I can contract with a PR person to write things up for the Bradenton Herald and other papers and for the FRA and everybody, just because I track these things using Google, and we do things, and it's not getting out there. And, I'd like to have a really positive reputation about getting things done and being right out in the front of things. So with your permission, I will talk to a couple different folks that can do this part-time, and they have an LLC, and this is what they do. So they can write things up, take pictures, do stories, and push it out to the media. That way we know we're getting, and then I talked to the FRA, and they said, if you just send it to us, we will post it. So it's just a matter of, could ask Chris to do it, and him and AI over here, or A1, I'm not sure what it is, but but I think I'd rather have just somebody, a consultant, come in and do it for us, and that way we don't have to worry about it. So if you're okay with that, I'll move forward with that and bring it back to you at the next meeting. Just so you know, while we were doing this, we applied for 6 FRA awards because we have things that we can apply for now. Also, Excelsior Security has been terminated, and the PD, we've worked with them. They're managing the security for us. I think Scott has a contract between the two parties, between us and the PD, and that will be coming online until we can find the appropriate replacement. But I wanted to let you know that was officially done. Didn't want to do it until we had something in place to fill in the blank. We're in progress with the multi-CRA streetscaping LED project. This is the big project that connects it all together with LECOM and downtown and the Village of the Arts and Central all the way down 9th. Applied Sciences is working on it. In fact, we got an email today where they were asking engineering about the form-based code for the streetscapes and how the street right-of-ways weren't lining up with the form-based code. And so we're all having a meeting on that, but that is moving forward. There will also be meetings in the communities with Applied Sciences to talk and explain and show pictures and things like that, and they'll be meeting with this board. Heard this morning at the city council meeting, which is a meeting that will run longer than this one will, because I'll make sure ours will shut off before, because I always want to beat Rob. About the mayor talking about Main Street, and if this board would like and the city is okay with it, I can talk to Trent Green at USF, School of Architecture and Community Design, who's loaded with really cool grad students, and they could come in and give you all kinds of different ideas, and they use Rhino, which is this 3D software, probably A1 too, and it shows you what it looks like you're standing there, videos, the whole 9 yards, and they're very good at it, and they usually are more affordable than a consultant. So if you'd like to think about that, if you'd like to do that, I've already contacted him and see if he had time on his schedule to talk to us about that. The grant program's moving forward. If each of you will set up a time with me, we did get some prices on lighting trees, and we'd like to kind of go over that with you and kind of give you some ideas of what we've discovered. If I could only read my own writing. Also, we put out the budget request to the city. It's every year we put it out. Here's the application. Fill out your forms, do your work, send your homework back to us. Chris will grade it. And that's how they receive their money from us. It's an agreement between both parties, which is what we're looking for. And thank you. Yep, that's what that is. This, and I'll just show it to you. You know what it is. This is the mural that's on the Judicial Center, and the city's getting ready to paint the Judicial Center. The mural is in good shape. There are some spots that are a little rough.
Is it the Judicial Center or the Judicial
We're
Parking
painting
Garage?
our garage.
Parking garage.
We're not painting something for the county.
No,
Okay.
sorry about that. And and plus we wanted to make it so that it's easier to paint the building because some of the mural is kind of out, so we wanted to kind of square it up. We got a price from an artist that we've used before on a parking garage that we know can do the work, and it came in under, I think, $10,000. Yep. And but it's not, it's the city's doing the painting. It's the city's parking garage. We asked, hey guys, if you felt a $10,000 grant from us, which is in our grant package written in now fully, and she'll do the work. We'll pay you, you pay her. That's the way this has to work. We're not paying for her directly because it's your grant, it's your work. And we just wanted, you're okay on that, because once you put up a mural, to paint over it is one thing, but to put up another mural, you know how long it takes to get a mural. We did it last year. For $10,000 just to touch this up and clean it up and let them paint the rest of the building, I think is easy money. It's very affordable, and it's a nice mural. I just wanted, would you guys like to keep this mural is what I'm asking.
Look, I have a question though. The artist who did the original mural, because I think Realize Bradenton did that. And are we allowed to touch up that artist's work? Okay.
Yeah, we can touch it up as long, we're not changing it. We're not putting a mustache on the guy or anything like that. We're just maintaining some pieces of it that need some, it kind of is faded. And then we're just touching up the perimeter so it makes it easier for the city to paint it. They can go to a point and stop.
I just thought for some reason that the artist would require that he be hired because if I remember right with the chrysalis launcher,
Yeah, we'll even,
We can follow up.
I just would double check.
We'll follow up with them.
yeah. I think touching it up and just making sure it's, rather than covering it over completely,
Yeah.
and you probably paid very good money for this mural. So, and again, this is part of our grant program. It comes out of the grant money. So my question is, would you like to keep the mural? My recommendation is it's a nice mural, keep it. And we'll make sure it's done nice and work with the city so that it's easier on them to paint the building. So if you guys are okay with that, that's all I got. Is that all I got?
You had a lot of questions on there.
Oh, I got one more
You had
thing.
a card up. Did you?
Oh, thank you. I got an email. I've been working with the developer at Minnie Lee Rogers and the city, and we are like extremely close to getting an SIP for them to begin, go to FDOT and SWIFMUD to get their approval so we can get the permit, so we can begin construction on the site. The city engineering said, let me see if I can get it done by Friday, but more likely it'll be Monday. But the SIP is almost in hand, and I just wanted to report. We're keeping track of it, so we're excited about that. I know.
Well, what is tomorrow at 9 a.m.?
What is tomorrow at 9 a.m.?
Oh,
Oh, it's the, thank you for reminding me of that. It's the
Freebie photo.
photo session with the two freebie cars from Palmetto and Bradenton, and Palmetto
Where are
has
we
been.
going to be? Where do, I don't, I have something, I don't have
Yes.
where my smiling face is.
Todd Campbell, CRA coordinator.
101 Riverfront Boulevard. Oh, that's.
Right, it's on the Riverfront Boulevard. I'm sorry, on the riverfront, just east of the skate park, directly north of the Manatee Memorial Hospital parking lot.
Okay,
There's a big entryway that the cars are going to be parked on the Riverwalk. We'll have you meet you all there.
preferred colors you want us to be in, or,
No, ma'am.
okay?
I trust your fashion sense better than
No,
mine.
I didn't.
You could wear
I've
whatever
been-
you whatever you
I've been out
want.
of town. I've been out of,
Sure, absolutely. The invite also has
Having
a
working
map
lungs, so
of where
I'm
we're
just
wanting you. So if you have questions, either feel free to reach out to me, or the invite has a map on it as well.
It's just north of the Veterans Monument.
Well, you had a lot of questions for us, and I mean, as far as, are you coming back to us the next time? Like, about the marketing plan? Of course, I'm gonna be in favor of that, but, I mean, are you looking for
weren't you saying
something?
you wanted to meet with each of us individually as well? So why can't we just all roll it in there?
Yeah,
Okay,
yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
okay, anything else? Anybody have
And
anything else?
it was sent to me that, we talk about the incentives. It's not like we're picking the pocket of the developer, taking money out of the wallet and sticking the wallet back into the pocket. That only happens in Italy. It doesn't happen here, okay?
I didn't.
Okay, anything else for the good of the great or good of the people? Okay. We're adjourned, 3:01.